Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Journey to Silius for the Nintendo Entertainment System. In this 1990 action platformer from Sunsoft, Jay McRae is on a solo mission to stop the terrorists who destroyed the Silius space colony and executed his dad. Oof, nothing Silius about that. Sorry. Anyway, this game features 5 levels of run-and-gun action, but don't go in all reckless with your thirst for revenge. See, the gameplay here is much more strategic. It's about learning which enemies do what, memorizing where they appear in every stage, and forming a plan of attack to overcome them without draining your health bar. The space is infested with evil robots, and your puny little human vitality doesn't last too long without a healthy dose of caution. And special space blasters. Every time you defeat a sub-boss, you get a new secondary weapon to add to your arsenal. There's a machine gun with rapid fire that's good for taking out bullet sponge enemies before they chase you down. And those enemies are the worst, by the way. Good luck surviving if you're caught in the homing seesaw pattern of Mr. Evil Robot Water Filter here. There's a spread shot that's much more difficult to aim than just jumping up to fire your regular cannon. A laser that does a lot more damage than regular shots, which is super helpful against Mr. Evil Robot Water Filter's big annoying uncle, who has no legs but still kicked my butt. A homing missile that I like to use on turrets hiding behind corners. Gotcha. And a grenade launcher you acquire so late in the game that you're probably not even going to use it. Beware though, all these secondary weapons deplete your limited ammunition, so try to save them for sub-bosses and stuff. Granted, there are ammo and health pickups dropped by defeated enemies, but they seem pretty random and unreliable. At least the enemy attack patterns are reliable, so you can plan your strategies around that. In the city ruins, plasma cannons hinge up and down to shoot at different altitudes. In the underground pipeworks, robot pencils spike up to try and skewer you like the meat sack you are, and robot bugs shower you with projectiles as you try to desperately run away. In the terrorist hideout, mechanical ceiling brains and creepy crawlies blast you at 45-degree angles, and industrial forks also try to skewer you like the meat sack you are. In the hangar, you're at the mercy of all kinds of hydraulic presses who'd prefer to see you as a pancake-shaped hero than a human-shaped one. And finally, in the factory, all traditional robot enemies are replaced by crushing blocks and golden liquid streams that look like honey but are probably toxic waste. Most levels also have sub-bosses in the vein of mechs and podwalkers, and they're surprisingly more difficult to defeat than the real bosses, which are all sorts of exciting, screen-filling machines based on robot tanks and aliens and motherships and stuff. Except the final boss, he's just a glowing skeletal metal dude. But I hear this game was originally based on the Terminator movie, so that checks out. It all goes to show that Journey to Silius really shines in the graphics department. I think the most striking thing here is it's not afraid to lean into the everything is chrome aesthetic for pretty much all the enemies and stage hazards. It really puts an emphasis on the great robot designs, and it makes them stand out even more with the red damage flashing tones. I'll admit that video game music rarely catches my attention, but I found the Journey to Silius chiptunes playing in my head even after I turned the game off. And I didn't mind, because they're excellent, and well balanced with the sound effects, so they complement each other instead of overpowering each other. The most novel aspect of Journey to Silius is probably its scrolling quirks. Whenever you advance in a level, you can't scroll the screen back to retrace your steps, which is much more common in earlier platformers than something from the 90s. It's good for despawning annoying enemies off screen, but bad when you need to skedaddle away from our friend Mr. Evil Robot Water Filter. Also, the final level ditches this entirely in favor of auto-scroll. Even though I'm generally an advocate for consistency in games, I'm also a big fan of auto-scrollers, so this was my favorite part. It's kind of hard for me to gauge the difficulty of Journey to Silius because I've always been particularly awful at Sunsoft games in general. And I will say, I felt betrayed when I made it halfway through only to learn there are limited continues and I had to go all the way back to the beginning again. So naturally, I cheated and played the whole thing with save states from that point on. Take that, Sunsoft. It's the 21st century now and I have technology. Not terrorist robot army technology like in Journey to Silius, but state-of-the-art digital bookmarks that let me beat video games without being good at them. If I could change one thing here, I'd make the controls a little less sticky. Journey to Silius would probably be a much easier game if our hero Jay McRae was a bit more responsive. His movements just don't register as snappy as they should to turn and dodge and micro-adjust reliably. Just look at how finicky it is fine-tuning a jump off the edge of a platform to keep from landing on an enemy below. Overall, Journey to Silius has done a lot to redeem my rocky experience with Sunsoft games on the NES. It's brief, it's well designed, and it's full of cool robots. It also makes me appreciate the real-life advent of video game cheating technology over mecha terrorist army technology. And I'm just gonna pretend that won't change anytime soon.